Okay, so the question of the morning is what are Japanese fusion forms? I'll tell you about how I acquired two and what I know about them. If you Google fusion forms or fusion in the Google Japanese language, today you get sticky note, tag, slip, label, and even post-it note, some really modern things for fusion notes. And this all came about through my collecting the French Colonial allegorical group type postal history starting in 1976. I began the Odyssey, and if you don't remember an Odyssey, at least as I remember it, is a long meandering journey. And I collected the postal history of the colonial group type from all 29 colonial units that used that issue from 1892 to about 1915. And this journey took me to places and things that I could really never anticipate. And in 2016, I discovered another aspect of the issue while I was at the New York 2016 International Show. I came across for the first time Japanese fusion forms. And herein, I'd just like to give you a brief introduction to these forms as they were used on registered mail from Indochina to Japan. So I just wanted to show a picture of one of the Indo-Chinese group type stamps to put everybody on the proper issue. Those are the French figures of navigate allegorical figures of navigation and commerce. And this issue, one design was used during the whole period from 1892 to 1915. Values ran from 1 centime to 1 franc, or for some colonies, 5 francs. And the colony name was printed in a second run through the press. And you could see on the 4 centime claret on gray, you see the Indochine in blue. So that's the basic stamp. And this morning, we're going to stop at three post offices in Indochina. The little village of Hongdae, which you can see right here, the port city of Haiphong, which is right here, and the capital at Hanoi. And they're all from Tonkin province, which was up in the northeast of Indochina. Below Tonkin was Annam, and below Annam was Cochin China. And to the west, you had Cambodia, Laos, which you can see a bit of over here in Cambodia. So that's where we are. And here's the first letter I found in the Bourse one day at the show when I was wandering around. It's from the little village of Hongdae, which in itself is worth the price of bringing it into my collection. It's a real nice post office. And this letter was posted from this small village of Hongdae on May 23rd, 1898, and addressed to Kobe, Japan. And it was posted at the proper 75 centime registered rate, which is the double weight for a letter weighing 15 to 30 grams. So that's 2 times 25 centimes plus 25 centimes postage. And as noted, the basic letter weight was 15 grams. And this is what the front of the cover looks like up close. And it's nice that it has a good strike of the Hongdae Tonkin date stamp. You can see the Kobe address and the designation via Hong Kong for the routing. And if you go to the back, you actually complete the franking, and you see the transit via Haiphong, the port city that gets it into the sea mails. You also see a transit from Hong Kong, the British office at Hong Kong, and a final arrival in Kobe on June 8th. Okay, so we run from May 25th to June 8th, pretty good timing. And this is a marvelous combination of the low value group types, 1, 2, 4, and 5 centime, paying that proper 75 centime rate. And it originated from a small village. I
Hmm.
mean, normally the values that would be used would be the 5, the 10, the 15 for local mail, and the 25. Okay.
Hmm.
1, 2s, fours. You have a lot of those. You don't have that much call for them, and maybe they were
Mm.
just unloading them. I don't know of the addressee. He's certainly not a philatelic address. You can see it's addressed to an agent of the messagerie maritime in Kobe. I mean, that's the French packet system. So it looks very much like it was a business type letter. So this is what the cover actually looks like with that let's call it a sticky note on the front of it. That's the Fusen form. Okay, and it's all in Japanese except for a little bit. I think this is a response note there. We'll get to that in a moment. So, what are these fusion forms? Okay, well, these are forms that reflect the attempt to deliver registered mail. Okay, and normally they added a new one after every attempt to deliver, which was unsuccessful. If only one fusion form is present, this generally indicates that the letter was successfully delivered on the next attempt. And if you translate, and this is the problem with collecting these, you have to read Japanese. So for me, I have to get somebody to translate it. And the form reads Kobe Post and Telegraph Office, and it was returned back to the post office because the recipient was not available at the address. Uh, so that's the purpose of these fusion forms. They're recording what's happened to these registered letters right on the letters. And this letter shows a Kobe arrival on June 8th to say it was properly delivered. And the manuscript here indicates, I think, that the response was not till October, and why it sat around so long, I'll never know. But this is just the recording of an inability to deliver a piece of registered mail and keep everything proper, knowing that the post office was attempting to do so. And I had never seen one of these forms. As I said, I started in 76. This was 2016 when I bought it. And I continued at the Bourse, and I came to Luke Dunham's booth. I don't know if you people have bought from Thierry Lalave, who's outside of Lyon, but he runs four great postal history auctions a year, and he came to the New York International, and I got this Fusen form letter from Thierry, and you can see the Indochina stamp, and it has three fusion forms on it, not just one. And here's the basic cover. I folded the forms back. It's a registered letter, simple registered letter at the first weight level, which is 25 centimes, plus 25 for registration, posted from Hanoi, the capital, on March 30th, 1904, to Tokyo, Japan, franked with the 50 centime group type issue of the 1900 printing. That was a new color variety that they created in 1900. They were shifting over to UPU colors, or trying to, and this is the brown on bluish. And it's addressed to a Colonel Covisar, who is a French military attaché in Tokyo, as you can see. And there's the colonel. Googled him, and you could get a nice picture of him. I'm not sure that he was a colonel at the time of that picture. And if you go to the reverse, you see a Haiphong, again, transit, okay, getting it to the port, registered General Post Office at Hong Kong, a transit through to China, and then a Tokyo arrival at the main post office on the 16th of April, and final delivery on the 17th of April it was in the post office at 5:30 in the morning. So what about the fusion forms? Okay, here they are, and lots of Japanese to be translated. The first fusion form requests that the letter be forwarded to Baron Corvisar. He's at a different address in a different district of Tokyo, stated April 17th, and it's signed on behalf of the French legation. which you can see that chop in red. The second one is a mail carrier's report of a non-delivery, requested that delivery be made at another address. So it was returned and then to the post office and resent. And we get to the third form. The item was brought to a different office, stamped out at 5:30, and the case was closed at 10:20 a.m. This is all the next day with the successful delivery of the letter. So this is reporting the history of the handling of registered letters and how the Japanese treated them with great importance. Around 1900, postal services was serious about successful delivery of foreign registered letters. Japan probably more so than any other country. This one was brought back from the first office at 2:30 a.m., departed the second at 5:30, and the case was closed at 10:20 the next day. It's interesting today, foreign registered mail is simply added to the first class mail stream on arrival in the USA. There is no documenting anymore, no tracking of foreign registered mail. If your carrier notes that it's registered on delivery, he'll have you or somebody sign for it if somebody's around. If not, he'll just put it in your regular mailbox. And it's like, who cares anymore? It's the way the mail's treated.
And up until just a few years ago, I used to get um, forms in my mailbox. If I wasn't home when a foreign registered mail
Yeah,
piece arrived, I would get a form and I'd have to go to the post office and collect the piece.
right. And they
But they
stopped.
stopped that. I think sometime during the pandemic that stopped.
I think it was earlier
Maybe
because
it was earlier.
I just have to thank Ken Bryson, the librarian of the Japanese International Society for Japanese Philately, who told me all about these forms and did the translations. And I just like to note, remember, this is just an introduction, and I'm certain that one could develop a full exhibit on the use of these Japanese fusion forms. But it's interesting in my group type collection, which hit about 2,700 covers. These are the only two fusion forms I've ever noted from the French colonies in this area. So that's it.
Well, thank you, Ed. Very nice. That's some beautiful covers there.